Alright, so welcome back to my team career mode on F124. It's round number 3 at Melbourne. Last time out at Saudi Arabia, I had a great race, to be fair, fighting with Lance Stroll and I believe Daniel Ricciardo, and managed to secure a very nice P14 finish. It's not looking too great still, even after a full season in the vehicle performance comparison. As you can see, we are still last by a very far margin. At this point, we might have to start looking for more investment. PG tips might not be giving us enough. But anyway, let's head to qualifying and see what I can do. Alright, so welcome to qualifying. Now, at the moment, my teammate, Nico Hülkenberg, has a lap time of a 1 minute 17.3. I reckon that is, well, more than beatable, as had put it. And yes, there is no face cam today. My hair is in such an irreparable state that even I can't bear showing it to the world. So, just let's move on from that. Round turn 1 and 2 was a bit stinky, to be honest. I was expecting a bit more cornering speed, but it isn't the end of the world. Sector 1 is a 26.5 by Zhou Guanyu. I have a... Oh, wow, yeah, this is a really poor lap so far. I'm not used to having a car with this little downforce, to be honest, and it's got a lot more grip than I think as well. So I'm going to be 3 tenths down. I go on the grass and... this lap has been absolutely egregious so far. Into the fast left, that was pretty good. Flat through the fast right, okay. Pulled it back a little bit. I'm still 3 tenths down, but that wasn't a bad sector 2. Now my sector 3 round here isn't actually that bad. I definitely need to add some more downforce to this car because this feels terrible. And around the final corner we come. Very, very decent final sector and a pretty good middle sector. Obviously, the first one let me down, but I do go ahead of Hülkenberg by 3 tenths of a second. Half a second down on Zhou Guanyu, though, but it's been like that for the past 2 rounds, to be fair. That is just where our car is at the moment. I keep saying it. We do have the worst car. You've seen it for yourself, so... at best, we're going to be going for P20 or P19. So... yeah, that's just how it is, It is what it is. And here we go then. Here is my final run. Now, Hülkenberg only improved his lap time to a 17.2, so I will win the qualifying battle. And before I embark on this lap, please like the video because I told you to. Now, let's do this thing. Now, my turn 1 on my previous lap was a bit stinky. I'm going to brake a little bit earlier and harder, get into the corner. That was a lot better. I have increased my front downforce by a little bit, so hopefully I should be a bit more competitive now. Into turn numero 3. I have a lot more grip than I think I do, and there's me displaying it, but then I have absolutely chronic understeer. That was really bad. I don't know what that was all about. Very concerning. Now, through this corner, I'm on the grass on my first run. I don't do it on this run, so I'm going to fight a whole bunch of time. There you go. Nearly 3 seconds a second. That is foul. Now through the fast left again, I'm going to brake a little bit less and try and carry a bit more speed through, which I have done. And I'm currently a 1/10.5 off Lance Stroll in P18. So it is actually turning out to be quite a good lap so far from Fat Krim. Round the final corner, a little bit iffy stiffy, but it's okay. Dump the overtake, 6 tenths of a second found. And there it is. Is that going to be anything other than the back row? Nope. It is going to be P21 and 22 for the PG Tips Fat Crib F1 team. Not ideal at all. I've noticed that's quite a trend now. I've heard of a trendsetter. Jeddah, I found 1.2 seconds or something, and I was still P21, I believe. Now I've found 6 tenths of a second, and I am P21 again. And a 10th off of Zhou Guanyu's time. So, and look at that lap time by Hülkenberg as well. That is especially bad. That is a second off Zhou Guanyu. And, about 9 tenths off me. That is shockingly bad from Hülkenberg. My goodness. And to be honest, there's nothing else that we can really do at the moment with the car. The way that this game works is a bit odd. For some reason, the R&D, the cost of upgrades, has almost tripled, going from 400 per upgrade to 1800 per upgrade, meaning I can only start developing a new upgrade every, 3 rounds or something. And of course, as I'm upgrading, so is everyone else at a much faster rate because they have more resource points. So it's going to be a very long time. By a very long time, I mean upwards of 3 to 4 seasons before we're even remotely close to fighting like the Alpines or the RBs. So, yeah, not ideal. Back row of the grid for the Grand Prix. Let's go from there. Alright, and here we are on the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. Make sure that fuel is nice and low. Strategies, same old, there's nothing to really say about it. I am going to lower my downforce back down. This is why I had it on for my first quali run. This was the second quali run. I feel like in the race, higher downforce doesn't really matter because... Well, actually, to be fair, since I'm at the back of the grid, maybe higher downforce wouldn't be so bad. My thinking is that on the lower downforce setting, it's, you know, very easy to defend because you're not going to get overtaken in the corners and you have good straight line speed. But I've only got Hulkenberg behind me, so I might as well use full downforce, like a bit more than usual, and try and overtake some cars. You know, let's just go in the middle. Screw it. Right, Australian Grand Prix, round number 3. Let's do this thing. And here we go. Will I get a good start for the first time on this year's game? No, it's another stinker, although not my worst. Hulkenberg's start is also about the same as mine, so we are going to go wheel to wheel into turn 1. Hulkenberg a little bit ahead. Actually managed to get around the outside of Lance Stroll into turn 1. I'm now on the inside of Magnussen. Massive oversteer, though. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. And Magnussen's got that good straight line speed. I'm going to dive down the inside. Almost just killed Jack Doohan. That wasn't my intention. Of course, I have a soft spot for Jack Doohan because he was, of course, a member of the PG Tips Factory F1 team. And actually, fair play to him, because what he's done is I've dropped him, and he's gone to Haas, which has not been much of an upgrade, but it is an upgrade, and I've dragged Hulkenberg from Haas back down to here. So, yeah, good for Doohan, but I've sort of ruined Hulkenberg a bit. Now, Lance Stroll trying to get a move on Magnussen. We go into the fast chicane, chilling in P19 at the moment, up, 2 places from the start, and now we just vibe. I have noticed that the AI are for some reason a little bit slower in the race than they are compared to qualifying. In qualifying, it used to be the other way around. I used to have to set the difficulty upwards of 5 lower in qualifying compared to the race, just so the AI was competitive. But now, in qualifying, I mean, you saw I was P21, 1/10 away from the car ahead. And now I'm, you know, in P19, hanging onto the back of Jack Doohan, and I'm vibing, so... Maybe I've just got good race pace and I'm not very good at qualifying. I'm not entirely sure. Holy moly, my straight line speed is strong. That was using DRS for the first time and I was catching Doohan at a rate of knots. Look at this. You can see when he gets that rear light on, when he starts recharging, I start bringing him in like mad. And someone's just locked up ahead as well. I believe that's the other Haas. Who is in the other Haas? I don't even remember who's in the other Haas, because isn't it Logan Sargent? Is this Sargent? It might be Sargent, I don't remember. Because obviously Magnussen is now at Sauber and Hulkenberg's now at the PG Tips Factory F1 team, so... I don't know. Right, I think I'm going to go for a move on Jack Doohan into turn 3 while he's fighting with Magnussen. I'm going to try to slip round the outside here. And as... Who's that? Magnussen locks up. We now go 3 wide into turn 5. I don't even think that's turn 5. I think that's turn 4. And I have managed to get them both. Wow, that wasn't even Magnussen over, that was Zhou Guanyu. It is pretty difficult to look in the top left of my screen and driving at the same time, so I got that wrong. But now I've got to try and defend. I have got a bit of ERS left with me, so that should help and pull me along quite nicely. Is Doohan actually going to go for a move? No. Alright, I would have, to be fair, but, you know, the AI is quite dumb sometimes. Now, what would have been ideal is that I can stay within a second of Sargent. That isn't going to happen, unfortunately. Here comes Jack Doohan on the inside. Managed to outbrake him quite nicely through there. I think I went off track, but ignore that for me, please. Thank you very much. Here he comes again. He isn't going to send it up the inside this time, so I've managed to hold on to the place, but... yeah, this is going to get incredibly difficult because I'm clearly slower than Sargent by some margin. And basically slower than this lot as well. And it's now just defending for my life. Here comes Doohan again, and I just can't do it anymore. He is just way quicker than me in a straight line, and no matter what I do, it just isn't going to happen. And of course, because of the way this track works, Duan actually gets the DRS for the second straight, which I don't know why, but that doesn't help me at all. Now, what I can do is try and stick with him, and then go for a move into the fast chicane up ahead. Right, here we go then. Jack Duan, round the outside. This is very, very brave. Send it! Oh! Now that's a move that you can hang up into the Louvre. Ooh, bars. That was great. That was a lovely overtake. I mean, it is easier with the AI. They always brake at a predetermined point. Obviously, if that's a real human, they'd probably brake a bit later to cover me off. But you know what? I don't care. We take that. And actually, I have managed to get DRS on Logan Sargent as well. So that is going to be incredibly helpful. And we have a yellow flag up ahead. I believe one of the front runners might be exiting this race a lot sooner than they would have hoped. It is going to be Charles Leclerc. Oh, that's tragic. There he is. You right, Charlie? That's unfortunate for the poor lad. Of course, won here in 2022. He loves it round here. He ain't going to be doing anything close to winning today because he's gone. Now, I'm almost tempted to not overtake Sargent here, and I'm not going to. You might be wondering why. Well, think, if I overtake Sargent, he will have DRS right behind me, he'll get past me, and then Duan will probably get past me, and then everyone else. So I think I might just stick behind Sargent. I mean, there's a 5-second gap up to Ocon. I ain't going to be catching up to him. Keep the DRS on him, and just let him tow me along. And then, basically what I was doing last episode, just stick behind the AI, and then in the final couple of laps, or before I stop or whatever, just send it up the inside. So that's the play. Right, it's officially my time to pit, so I think it's time to mount an assault on Logan Sargent and get past him. I'm planning to do it down the main straight. Not the main straight, the back straight it actually would be. You know the one I'm talking about. The big long one. You know, that one. Yeah, nice. And to be fair, these tyres have actually held on very nicely. It's only this lap where the tyres are actually quite bad and a bit oversteery. The rest of the race, so far, they've been really good. Now, Logan Sargent, let's just dispatch of you really quickly. There it is. Before we even get to the corner, you've been dispatched. And, of course, I now get DRS again to pull away from him. Now, I'm going to use not all of my ERS, but I'm going to keep it on hot lap until I stop. And then I'm going to go full hot lap for my out lap in hopes of getting an advantage over Logan Sargent and everyone else. Now, how many of the ones behind me are going to stop with me? Of course, only half of them are. Logan Sargent is coming in, which means Jack Duan, of course, stays out. Someone ahead, I believe that's Ocon, has a massive lockup going into the pit entry, which is not really what you want, although I suppose he is changing his tyres anyway, so doesn't matter too much. Of course, Hulkenberg is going to continue. Actually comes out ahead of one of the Mercedes. Here's us exiting, actually right behind Yuki Tsunoda. Of course, we're ahead of Sargent, and it's about the same gap. And yeah, now we go for a push out lap, try and get an undercut on Magnussen and Duan and Hulkenberg. And maybe, if, you know, I can drive a little bit better, push on and maybe get Tsunoda. Alright, here we go then. Have I managed to undercut anybody? My outlap has been very, very average. There is Magnussen, there is Duan, and I am out ahead, but not really by much. It's exactly the same as it was beforehand. So, nothing's changed at all. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute here. We have another yellow flag somewhere up ahead. I don't know who it is yet. We're about to find out any second now. Let's look up ahead on the road. I can't actually see anything. Oh, it's Jack Duan. And as I say that, here comes his teammate, Logan Sargent, round the outside. Try and keep it on track. Okay, managed to defend. Didn't even notice he was there, to be honest. I was actually about to say that my tyres in, you know, the recent couple of laps has become very stinky. Like, oversteer mad, especially in the high speed, which is very dangerous and can cause cataclysmic, like, barges into walls. And of course, as we know, Formula 1 cars don't work very well when they are planted, you know, 6 feet deep into Armco. Anyway, so Sargent, He's looking like he's going to get me at some point. My tyres are getting old, they're getting used, the car is becoming worse and worse. Tsunoda has just pulled a second on me out of quite literally thin air. So, I don't know. The pace isn't bad. I'm happy with how I'm driving. But as we know, the car is just a bit stinky. There's Jack doing. Hey, how's it feel, blood? I mean, I'm not doing much better. I'm P15, which is nothing to gloat about. But at least I'm still in the race. And actually, it's probably going to be P16 in a second. Because here comes Sargent again. He has got better straight line speed. And I have had to use a bit more overtake than I'd like. And it's the exact same thing. Just brake later and stick to the outside. Right, 3 laps remaining in this race. Tsunoda has just put on the burners, apparently. Like, 3 laps ago, he was only 2 seconds ahead, and our lap times were basically identical, and now he's 4.5 seconds ahead. Although, to be fair, I am now considerably slower than I was 3 laps ago. Logan Sargent is still in contention. I do think I'll have him. It is very easy to defend. I just go around the outside, as have you seen. That's all I've been doing. And honestly, I am feeling very confident to bring home a P15 finish, which, if anything, that's just good consistency. I mean, so far this season we've had, what, P17, P14, and then potentially P15. So, nice and consistent. Not in a good way, but still consistent. And here we go. Here is the final lap. And I don't know how I've managed it, but I've actually managed to pull a bit of a gap onto Sargent, which is extremely helpful. I can actually take turn 1 like a normal human, not having to take a weird line around the outside to defend. Now, going into turn number 3, I have managed to survive DRS zone number 1. I could just leave my hot lap on, probably until the end of the lap, but honestly, I'm just going to save as much ERS as possible for the back straight. But I'm reasonably happy with today's race. It's been very, very boring, just sort of staying in P15, and that's about it. But I've driven very well. And that's a good thing. I'm liking that. Recently, I've been very consistent, I've been very fast, and that's good. Here comes Logan Sargent round the outside. His final chance to overtake. It isn't going to happen because I have that inside line. And actually, technically, that was his 3rd to last chance to overtake, because here comes another one. He's going to go to the outside, is he? No, couldn't get close enough, which is fine. So I'm now going to go into the final sector. Oscar Piastri takes a home Grand Prix win, so fair play to you, lad. Massive oversteer into the final corner. My tyres are absolutely shot to pieces. This is actually going to get quite close over the line here. This is going to be very, very close. Did I get that? I think I did. I did, but I wasn't too confident. That was scarily close. I thought I just lost P15 on the line, which would have been very frustrating. But like I said, a bit of a boring race, but I drove very well. Therefore, I'm happy. And here is your final order. So Oscar Piastri converts a P2 to a P1. Hang on a minute here. There's definitely some bias towards Lando Norris in this game, because didn't it happen in Saudi Arabia as well, where Lando started on pole, finished 2nd, but got driver of the day? And I believe that happened in Jeddah as well. I mean, why not give driver of the day to Russell? You know, 7th to 4th, or maybe Alonso, 8th to 5th, Théo Pourchaire, 11th to 8th, you know, 15th to 10th. There are some better driver of the day worthy contenders than Lando from going from P2, or sorry, P1 to P2. But anyway, that's him. Fat Karim finishes in P15 from P21, so plus 6 places. Very, very good. Of course, there was 2 DNFs, which helped, but, you know, I still had to overtake all these lot. Hulkenberg, today in particular, he definitely wasn't on it. Yeah, finishing 10 seconds behind Magnussen, and his fastest lap is nowhere near competitive as well. Looking at the standings for those interested, here you go. So Lando Norris has a 4-point lead over Piastri and a 6-point lead over Verstappen. There is 6 points splitting the top 3 at the moment. This is a title fight to remember so far. By round 6 or 7, one of these drivers could be like 40 points ahead, but at the moment it's very close. And in the constructors, McLaren have a 23-point lead over Red Bull Racing because Perez is not dropping a stinker, but 21 points back in 3 rounds isn't ideal. But yeah, that's going to be all from me today. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like the video and follow me on Twitch and Kick as well. I'm going to be trying to restart my streams on there very soon alongside YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.